Welcome to Player One Memories, a nostalgic look back at the classic days of arcade gaming. 1981 saw the debut of MTV and a whole new way for people to consume their music visually. The ironic first video played was the Buggles' Video Killed the Radio Star. In 1968, the Beatles formed the company Apple Corps Limited. Fast forward to 1981, where Apple Computers settled a deal with them for the Apple name. One of the conditions for the settlement was that Apple Computers stay out of the music business. Somebody needs to reevaluate their contract. And finally, Indiana Jones whipped and punched his way into cinema history, going down a storm with audiences and critics. Despite the fact that the iconic boulder chase sequence was stolen right out of an old Scrooge McDuck comic called The Seven Cities of Kabola. Take your inspiration from anything, I guess. And now on to today's game, which is... Turbo was released by Sega in 1981, a fast-paced racing game that was way ahead of its time. The game is kind of like an update of their own 1979 game, Monaco GP, which was a top-down racer where you dodged opponents to see how long you could last. The weird thing about Turbo is I played it at the exact same tropical-themed restaurant in Durban, South Africa in the early 80s. As I played Monaco GP, the owner must have loved racing games, and Monaco simply disappeared one day and Turbo was in its place. In its full sit-down version, a real sight to behold, especially considering I was only about 8 or 9 when I played it. Jumping into it for the first time was mesmerizing. It felt like 3D. The backgrounds changed. There were different weather conditions, and you could see your car from a third-person perspective. My mind was blown. Just bear in mind, almost all of this hadn't been done in a racing game before. This was the jump to the next level. The basic gameplay is as long as you pass or overtake 30 competitors before your time runs out, you get an extension to keep going. You have unlimited lives or cars to crash, so no worries besides the slowdown and having to catch up again. But once you get a nice dodging rhythm going, the game makes you feel like a racing king and is a pure early arcade rush. The kind you got when taking out a whole wave in Defender without losing a life, or just mowing down planes like crazy in Time Pilot before the next jump in time. The key to getting anywhere in Turbo is all down to acceleration. Put your pedal to the metal and you're dead. Learning to keep tapping it lightly so you can slow down when needed will make dodging possible and truly allow you to get pretty far. The further you get, as mentioned earlier, the scenery and environments change dramatically like no other racer before. From racing through massive city streets to big open highways, oceanside, dark tunnels where your lights come on, day and night cycles, and multiple weather conditions which affect gameplay. It was racing taken to that next level. The graphics could even be considered one of the first sprite scalers, and came a year before Sega's own Buck Rogers game. The third-person perspective is also very unique. Only Sega's own The Fonz from 1976 had achieved that, although in black and white only. This was full color, fast-paced chaos. It was my favorite racing game for many years and relished the chance of playing it whenever I saw it. The game was also a big commercial success upon release, knocking Donkey Kong out of the top arcade spot in May of 1982. The game unfortunately was only ported to the ColecoVision and Intellivision in a really cut down form, and I honestly thought I had this game on my Commodore 64 as a kid, but it turns out I was playing a clone knockoff called Death Race 64, and to be quite fair, it was actually pretty good. So if you want to experience the point where video game races truly became what we know them as now, then Turbo is the start.
Game over, yeah!
And thanks for joining me, Bastish B at 64K. If you can like and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.